Welcome to Marketing Recap, the weekly roundtable that gives you an inside peek into the latest news from the world of digital marketing and what it means for your business to help you stay ahead of the curve. Co-hosted by Cynthia Johnson of Rank Lab, Blake Jamieson of BlakeJamieson.com, and BJ Smith from The Busy Marketer. Ready to join the conversation? Let's get to today's headlines. Welcome to Marketing Recap. In this episode, we're talking about LinkedIn's new professional ad network and Twitter making it easier for multiple users to manage a single account. Plus, we'll touch on Facebook's new multiple product ads. If you're watching us live on the Google Plus Hangout or on YouTube, we want to hear from you. So join our live Twitter chat using the hashtag #MRCap. We want your questions, your comments, and we want to share some of them on the show tonight. So jump on in the chat with us right now, hashtag #MRCap. Tonight's roundtable is a two-person team again. Blake couldn't join us tonight, so it's up to Cynthia and I to get it done. So, joining us from Venice Beach, California, she's the Director of Marketing and Social Media at Rank Lab and the Editorial Director for SocialMediaClub.org. Please welcome the social media girl, Cynthia Johnson. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, thank you so much, BJ. I'm very excited about this LinkedIn ad changes we've got going on. I'm sorry Blake couldn't be here. Feel better.
Yeah. We'll miss Blake, but we know he'll be back, and we've got some good stuff. We've already got something lined up for him to share with us next week. So what's going on in your world this week?
Oh gosh, not too much. With Monday, we had Monday off for the holiday, so it's been overwhelming, and I just turned in my slides for SMX West. So I'm excited about that. That's first week in March.
That's very cool. Well, it's been chilly and cold and icy here in the eastern part of North Carolina, and it's kind of weird. I'm not used to this. So my kids went to school for the first day this week today, and that was on a 2-hour delay, and they'll be on another 2-hour delay tomorrow just because it's so cold. They don't want the kids standing outside for the buses, so it's kind of weird.
Oh wow! And I won't tell you that Blake and I were at the beach on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like in the 60s by the time Sunday rolls around here, but that's what they say about the weather here. If you don't like it one day, just wait till the next day. It'll be all right. Well, okay, so I'll introduce myself before we jump into the next thing. I'm BJ Smith, e-commerce marketing coach and at thebusymarketer.com, and I'm the host of the Busy Marketer podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, and I guess just about anywhere else you can get a podcast. So speaking of iTunes and Stitcher, you can catch the audio version of this show either on Stitcher or iTunes. We love for you to subscribe on either of those platforms, and if you enjoy the show, please leave us a rating and review while you're there. And while we're at it, I want to extend a special shout-out to Tim, Claire, Ben, and Melissa for giving us some great reviews on iTunes. And we're so appreciative of you guys and your participation in the show and your feedback. We absolutely love it. And for everybody else out there, if you haven't given us a review yet, we just need one more review before I can submit the show to be included in Jay Bear's marketing podcast directory. So please keep them coming. Again, we love the feedback. It helps us tremendously. All right, so our first story, LinkedIn is getting into the ad game in a big way with the launch of a global display ad network, and Cynthia will tell us some more.
Yes, so LinkedIn made a splash today, I guess, or yesterday, with their new ad changes. So basically, they purchased something called Bezo, I think it was last year. And they are relaunching it. And what it is they will place ads to users, drop a cookie, and then your ad will actually follow them to other websites. Just like an ad network, but they're not calling themselves an ad network. They're calling themselves, which is similar to Facebook, an audience network. But what makes it different is that Facebook uses your personal information to place these ads, where LinkedIn will be using your professional information. That's great for B2B, right? Facebook has a hard time, or I guess a harder time with B2B than it does with B2C ad displays. And with LinkedIn, now with this tool, you'll actually be able to retarget people based on their professional criteria.
Yay.
I know, right? Another thing that I read is that they're actually going to allow brands to put a widget on their site that will allow people to autofill their signups or purchase information through the LinkedIn sign-in system. So what that does is it allows you to have even more information of your user base. Now, LinkedIn also says that even though this is true, they're not giving away your information to advertisers. They say that is not happening. But when you do sign in with the widget, what it does is it allows the advertisers to buy ads on LinkedIn's mobile and desktop platforms. So we'll be seeing this go from desktop to mobile and various other websites in the very soon future.
I'm really excited about the retargeting capabilities. I mean, in all my years of dealing with different types of ad platforms, the ability to actually take somebody who is a qualified lead because they've been to your site, they already have shown interest in you in some way, shape, or form, and based on be able to go back and reach out to them again based on the different places that they've been and on your website, the different products or services that they visit is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And last year alone, we read that LinkedIn sold just over $500 million in ads. So that number is going to probably, I mean, if I had to guess, it would double, if not triple. I mean, it puts them up against, AdRoll and a lot of the bigger ad networks that are actually on LinkedIn and do a lot of their B2B there as well. You see Rocket Fuel, AdRoll, several other of these ad networks. They go on there. I don't know if you get this, BJ, but I'll get emails all the time asking if I want to buy ads or if I want to partner with them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of an effect that'll have on that.
I had a business that I was a part of, and we had 13 different e-commerce websites, and I think they had a different salesperson for every one of those. So yeah, those guys were calling all the time. I became very familiar with their products.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So LinkedIn partnered with AppNexus, and then I just think of like all of the several ad networks, like how many conversations do they have and what drew them to this particular company. But I actually feel that it's kind of beneficial more so on AppNexus's side than even on LinkedIn. So let's see here. Yeah, it says it's a $50 billion marketplace with this new strategy in place, according to the senior director, the EMEA senior director over at LinkedIn. So $50 billion is actually more like 10, 20 times what they did last year.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is insane.
So who's all going to be able to get into this thing?
So you have, in order to sign up, so you can sign up quarterly or yearly subscriptions, and you have to have 20,000 visitors or leads, and I believe that would be monthly to your site in order to sign up for this. So initially, and LinkedIn has a habit of doing this, right? They release it to the big players, and then over time, they kind of let everyone play the game. Initially, it will be a higher valued websites. So bloggers, for instance, with 10,000, 5,000, monthly uniques probably won't be able to sign up for quite a while. But big ad guys, I believe it's weather.com. Yeah, they're already partnered with them to get something started. So,
one of the things we talked about, and we kind of hit on it early before we actually started rolling today, is so many of us are testing out Facebook, and we're finding out Facebook is a very good platform for a lot of businesses, but it's difficult to and you and Blake talked about this quite a bit, that it was difficult to do business-to-business advertising on Facebook. And I think this is actually going to actually be a really nice thing for folks who are working business to business, being able to access the LinkedIn and the 2,500 other partner sites.
No, absolutely, I agree. And then, they've also talked about releasing, excuse me, the lead accelerator too. So not only are you going to be able to target on different websites, but you'll also be able to pick the ads along with the person that sees them. So they have an algorithm that will display specific ads to specific types of people on the platform, on the app, and on various other websites. So I know we were going to touch on this about Facebook's ad products. It's kind of touching on what they're doing, but again, in a B2B way, which is very exciting.
Yes. Yeah. Twitter is a good place to go. Facebook is a good place to go. But again, it's been difficult for a lot of the B2B guys. We've still been out there trying to get a lot of work done through Google AdWords and retargeting systems through there, and having another option with LinkedIn. And I've said it before that LinkedIn isn't my favorite platform because I just don't enjoy being there, and it's hard for me to focus on it when it's not something that I enjoy. But it's definitely, this thing's got legs, and I think with the data that LinkedIn is collecting and the information that they're going to be able to provide about our customers, where they are, what industry they're in, and things like that, it's not only going to help us in the retargeting aspect of it, but it's also going to give us the ability to reach out. I mean, once we know that a certain segment of our market is hitting our site, giving us more data than we had before, then we can turn around and take that information and apply it in other places as well when we're doing different types of advertising or in our messaging.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I think this will actually increase. You say it's not your favorite place. I think it will increase the number of countries. Not that they really have that many left to go for LinkedIn to be on, and they should probably hit that 500 million mark. I believe they're at just under 350 million now. They should hit that 500 million mark sooner than later, just because of this tool. And with that said, users, just so you know, you can actually opt out of seeing these ads. I know you probably don't want me to tell them that, BJ, but
well, look, if it makes you feel better, I just tweeted that link out. So
okay, great, good. Yeah, so if you feel like you don't want to be harassed on another social media site that then takes you, takes it from
harassment.
Yeah, well, it's not harassment, but to some, it's bothersome. I'll say I actually don't mind it. It's good news to see ads, and
and this is a personal. I don't know if it's because I've been in marketing for so long, but personally, I would rather see. I mean, there's going to be ads shown to me anyway. I would rather them be very qualified ads, or something that I'm actually interested in, than say, gold teeth or something.
No, yeah, I agree. It actually scares me because I have on my Facebook page most of the ads on Facebook are delivered from 18 to 65, and it says I'm like 78 or something. So I would get limited types of ads, but Facebook has actually outsmarted me, and and now I'm getting the most relevant ads no matter what my age says on Facebook. So they are getting smarter every day.
Yeah. I'm actually reading our MRCap Twitter chat. So those of you who are joining us a little bit late, please jump in. The Twitter chat is #MRCap. Claire was just saying that there's no argument about the data that LinkedIn has. It's a gold mine. And he does say that he questions about who logs in routinely, though, which is interesting. Do you have any question about the quality of some of the leads that will be coming from LinkedIn?
I personally don't. Even if someone's not logged in regularly, I I've seen fake accounts, and actually there's been stories about fake accounts that have, thousands of connections and the most valuable LinkedIn accounts. But it's so rare. It's people treat it like they treat their income and their jobs, a lot more so than I say even Facebook users treat their Facebook pages. It's a representation of your entire career, so
Yeah.
even if they're not logged in often, I think that the leads from that are already surpassing the quality of a Facebook B2B lead. Just the
I agree.
ideation.
Yeah. Great. Anything else you want to add to the LinkedIn story?
No, but yeah. So I want to throw this out there. It popped up. In 2014, there was a 45% lift in the annual revenue for LinkedIn. That was last year. So, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt that they're going to be very successful in this new endeavor, and hopefully all of us will be successful with it as well.
It's been a long time since I was excited about something that came out of LinkedIn. So, and I'm very excited about this. I think that there's so much potential. And again, as a B2B marketer, when it comes out, when it becomes available to the masses, it's definitely something that I want to try out. I at least want to put that pixel on my site so I can start collecting data and have that information about the people who are coming to my sites. It's just valuable information to have, and stuff that's a little bit more difficult to get off of Facebook.
Yeah. No, and I believe in companies that stick to their goals, and LinkedIn's goal is to become the most effective online platform for marketers to engage with professionals. And not that they didn't lose that, but now I see where they were going in every choice that they made up until now, but they've stuck to the initial mission and goal of the company. So it's exciting. I hope you're excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yes, I am. This is like really excited for LinkedIn.
You're
Yeah, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. So, something that is common in so many organizations is to have multiple people that manage a single Twitter account. And I've been through that with different agencies, different businesses that I was involved in. And the problem with that is that until this week, it's been kind of a nightmare because everyone has to use the same login credentials. So what happens when someone on the team leaves the company, or worse, if they get fired? What happens if someone's laptop or other device gets compromised? And you have to reset the password and have to pass on the new password to every team. I like the way it was written in one article where there's always that one guy that writes the password down on a Post-it note and just leaves it sitting around. So there's always that security risk and that hassle of having to keep that password and pass it along to everybody. Having multiple people manage a Facebook page, on the other hand, is a much different experience because you like the page as the person who's going to be a manager. You like the page, then an admin makes you a manager from there. All you have to do is be logged in with your personal Facebook account, and if someone leaves the team, then an admin just revokes their privileges. So it's kind of a simple deal. It's not quite that simple, but Twitter has really finally addressed the problem by adding a team tool to their TweetDeck system. So really, basically, you just download the latest version of TweetDeck and assign a manager that has the main account password. That manager can add team members by using a simple search bar to find and add their Twitter accounts. Like I was messing around with it today. I just mouse over the icon. I'm looking at it right now of two people. It says accounts, and I can, let's see, I'll do it while I'm just like live, folks. So it says my Twitter account is @BJSmithStrategy. So it says team @BJSmithStrategy. Let colleagues use Twitter as BJ Smith Strategy without sharing your password. I can click that. I can add another Twitter account. It brings up a search box. I can type in Cynthia or Blake if I want them to have access to my account, and boom, they have access to it right then and there. So really, the biggest catch is that the team members have to use TweetDeck to manage the account. um, which everybody has their preferences on what they want to use. So if you do want to have this team mentality, then yeah, everybody on the team is going to be using TweetDeck. Um, and it's currently available for the web version of TweetDeck, which I'm using right now, Chrome and Windows versions. The Mac app should be updated soon to have the team members in there. I tried it out earlier today, and like I said, I just did a live demo of it right here. I'm using a Mac, but I've got my Chrome browser open, and I'm just using tweetdeck.twitter.com. I went right to that URL and logged in with my username and password, and I have access to everything right then and there. Cynthia, I know from being in an agency and being on multiple large teams, you've had experience using sharing a Twitter account across multiple managers. How's
Yeah.
what was your experience doing that?
Well, it's very difficult, I think, or it can be, especially when you have users who, or you're working with a client and they have maybe an internal social media person, and then you have your team that also needs access to these accounts. That's when it gets tricky, and especially when you manage other accounts that these internal people at a company that you're working with should not have access to. And I think that TweetDeck really makes it easy. I've also been in situations where a company's left another agency. And for instance, with Hootsuite, in order to get those accounts transferred and to be sure that that company is no longer logged in, they actually have to release the accounts on Hootsuite, which becomes quite a hassle if you want to upload them again. And as Timothy said on Twitter, TweetDeck's free. So it's exciting, and to be able to just add team members very easily if someone leaves a company, or again, if you're switching agencies, you have this easy access. You don't have to share passwords. Passwords do become extremely tricky, especially since most people aren't, and I'm guilty of this as well, very creative. And a lot of times the password you use for one thing is the password you use for a lot of other things. So a malicious person would probably figure that out very quickly.
Yeah.
And this helps alleviate some of that extra burden. And I actually used TweetDeck back in 2010 and 2011. They used to have Facebook and LinkedIn capabilities. And then when Twitter bought them, the first thing to go was LinkedIn, and then Facebook, I believe just like 2 years ago, they dropped off. And they're really becoming very focused on using it just for Twitter, which I also think is helpful because it didn't work that as well before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm using it tonight, and this is the first time I've used TweetDeck in a very long time, and it's actually been quite helpful because I'm able to keep open a compose box so I can interact with the Twitter chat. I've got the hashtag MRCAP search, so I've got a live stream of the search feature. I've got my notifications open so I can see when people are liking and favoriting. So thanks, guys, for all the retweets and everything else, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I think some of these guys are going to kind of have a problem catching up if they can't figure out how to do a similar team system. I'm really excited about this as well. Cynthia was talking about not using a strong password, and I've always been one that has very cryptic passwords. I don't want anybody to be able to guess it, and they're probably way too long than absolutely necessary. But being on a team with other people and having them come up with the password, and they don't remember the passwords that I create. I don't remember the passwords they create. Well, sometimes I do because they're usually a little bit easier than the ones I create. But then you get the instant message that says, "Hey, can you send me the password so I can work on the Twitter account?" And I have to, put it in instant message, which is even less secure because you're starting to pass that stuff around through the network. Yeah, just not having that issue. Everybody knows what the username is, and not having the issue of the password, I think, is going to be a big help for a lot of companies, a lot of organizations.
Yes, and I would like to add, too, that if you have the password to a Twitter account, you can change the email associated with the Twitter account. And I don't know if anyone has had the privilege of trying to retrieve an account that you don't have the email or password for. it could take you months. And if that account is being used by someone else, you may never retrieve your account ever again. I've been through this where they had a former employee set up an account, and then no one knew what the new email was or the password associated with it. And this takes away that problem too, because it's very easy to go in if you have the password and change the email and the password. Oh, that's my dog. An email password attached to an account, and essentially stealing the Twitter handle forever. So, pause.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm the one. I'm the one that had the cat run across the desk on the last show. My dog luckily is asleep in bed right now. Um, so yeah, I that's a good point about the email addresses and having to go back and recover that stuff. And if you have a disgruntled employee and if you're not acting quickly when somebody leaves the company, then you have the chance of losing your account, and it can be a nightmare, like Cynthia says, to retrieve it again.
Yeah, it's definitely not fun. It's Twitter may be one of the most difficult accounts to retrieve if that email is changed. So that again, use TweetDeck if you're in the situation. They're on your side. They've made it easier for you.
Have you used the Teams option inside of Hootsuite before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's not something I'm familiar with. I know Tim was talking about that in the Twitter chat. I'd be interested to see how that differs. And I mean, obviously, you have to pay for the Teams for the Hootsuite version.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, they have multiple. It's not just Twitter. There's like multiple things you can do. Several apps within Hootsuite, and it works. I've actually moved over to Sprout Social, and they have a similar feature where you can grant access to certain people. It's more expensive, so I would suggest, obviously, TweetDeck if you're just using Twitter, and if you need more than that, Hootsuite is a great option. On a budget, once you get to an agency level, you should upgrade. Your clients are paying you to have, the most secure situation. My problem with Hootsuite is that once an account is attached to a profile or a team, then you have to release it for someone else to put it on their team. And in an agency situation, that can also become very difficult to do, or at least just more of a headache than necessary. So.
Okay. So there you go, guys. Go check out TweetDeck. See what it's looking like these days. If you haven't used it in a while, it's a little bit different, and it's definitely user friendly. And again, if you're in a situation where you've got multiple people who are managing a single Twitter account, this is a good alternative to passing around a password or some of the higher priced systems. In Hootsuite, if you would like to sponsor Marketing Recap, you can send an email to bj@marketingrecap.com. We do have one more story. We're only going to touch on it a little bit tonight because this has got Blake Jamieson written all over it. But this week, Facebook did release a multiple product ads system, which is kind of interesting. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to steal Blake's thunder, because I think he's going to rock this one. But and we could spend quite a bit of time talking about it. But it's going to give people the opportunity to use a form of retargeting and show you can, as an e-commerce business, and you don't actually have to do this with a catalog, but as an e-commerce business, you can upload a catalog, a feed of your products like you would with Google or some of these other places. You can upload this feed of products into Facebook, place the pixel, and create ads, and Facebook will retarget. Not only will it retarget and show a single item, but it's going to show a list of several different items in a row that you can kind of like scroll through, swipe through to see multiple items that either a person has looked at or that are related to something that a person has looked at. So that's kind of an exciting thing, and it's kind of a teaser for next week.
Yes, I agree that this is definitely up Blake's alley, but I can make a statement on advertising as a whole is clearly moving and progressing into something that we should all be paying attention to and reading up on as much as possible.
Yeah, I've been working with AdWords for a very long time, and I think the last year I spent I was working with a company and we spent well over, it was somewhere around $1.5 million in AdWords, which for a medium-sized e-commerce company is a pretty decent chunk of change, but the returns were absolutely there, and the reason we spent so much money in AdWords is because it worked and it did what it was supposed to do. And the level of options that Google was giving us, plus you throw in some retargeting systems. Google does its own dynamic retargeting, but there's other systems. You mentioned AdRoll earlier. I used a company called Steelhouse. I used eBay Enterprise. So experience with all these different third-party applications as well just made the advertising experience wonderful, as far as it can get. I mean, you have tons of data to crunch and all that. And these guys, the Facebooks and Twitters and LinkedIn, these guys are starting to catch up. And they're really going to be a force to reckon with pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think this is definitely a sign too. We still have so many people who don't think they should have to pay for social media reach and engagement for their brands and their companies. And again, yeah, they work with Google and so on. I think this is the time now is to get in and experiment and figure it out, and maybe take just a small portion of the budgets you give to AdWords and try it somewhere else for a change. Just time to spread the type of advertising we're doing. I think AdWords works so well in so many different verticals that people don't want to leave. They just like, why would I experiment over here when this is clearly working?
Yeah, these guys, you got to watch out for these guys in the social world, because I actually was reading another article earlier this week that was, and I reflipped it. I think I flipped it into the Marketing Recap Flipboard. So if you guys aren't subscribed to the Marketing Recap Flipboard, go get that, because I flipped an article in there where JCPenney was spending 4 cents per video view or something like that, doing video ads on Twitter. Which, I mean, 4 cents is like ridiculous. I mean, that's nothing. So not only are these social guys getting smart, but they're, it's cheaper. Tim, I'm gonna call you out, buddy. You wrote in the chat here that the stingy part of me is grumbling about it, but advertising, pay to play, is the way to go in social. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And while yes, I regret that organic isn't what it used to be, especially in places like Facebook, but the level of targeting that we're starting to get, with these retargeting ads, with building custom audiences or tailored audiences or whatever you want to call it, depending on which platform you're on, we're actually able to narrow down our audience so well that it's almost more efficient to spend our time and a little bit of money building an ad than it is a lot of the organic stuff that some folks are running.
I agree, and I think also from a personal perspective, I would much rather know what the capabilities are than not know. Your information's out there as it is. It can only help you to dive in and understand what information these companies have and what they're sharing with other people and what you can do with it for your businesses.
Great. Well, part of me actually hopes that we don't have much news next week, because I really want to. I think we can spend a whole show just talking about this next week. So go tell your friends. Go tweet out the hashtag and retweet the graphics and all that fun stuff, and get your friends in here. Before we go tonight, unless, Cynthia, do you have anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, so before we go, I want to ask a favor from you guys. Please, again, take a minute to write a review and a rating in iTunes or Stitcher Radio. We're on both right now, so you can go to marketingrecap.com/iTunes or marketingrecap.com/Stitcher. So I believe Tim, if I'm not mistaken, you are not an iOS guy, so Stitcher is probably the best way for you to listen to the show. I also want to remind you guys that we send out a list of stories to go along with each hangout. We'll tell you what the stories are, give you links to some of those stories that we're considering for the week, a link to the actual hangout itself, and it's basically a friendly reminder. You can sign up to get that notification by going to marketingrecap.com/newsletter. That will be available to you guys. We don't spam. We only send out stuff probably about once a week, and that's it. So, having said that, this is going to wrap up this episode of Marketing Recap, and I will let Cynthia kind of say goodbye and let you guys know how you can get in touch with her and if she's got anything that she wants to talk about, promote this week.
Yes, thanks so much. You can find me at Cynthia Live on Twitter, plus Cynthia Johnson on Google+. And my blog is cynthialive.com. I actually host a weekly Twitter chat every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time using the hashtag VSMGirl. It's all about social media, PR, and marketing, so please join me there. And that is all I have for today.
Thanks, Cynthia. Yeah, as for me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And if you connect with me, I will probably, if you don't look spammy, I will connect back. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BJ Smith Strategy, both the same. Check out my show, The Busy Marketer Podcast. I'm recording so many episodes right now. I'm actually getting ready to. I've got a list of. Let's see. I've recorded 3. So I've got a list of about 9 or 10 other people that that have agreed to be on the show that I'm sending out emails for tomorrow to join the show. If you haven't heard of the Busy Marketer Podcast, basically I interview other marketers who are fighting the good fight, and they're just going out there and knocking it out and giving their advice and telling their stories. It's a group therapy session where we all get to feel each other's pain and successes, and it's a fun time. So I highly enjoy it. I think you guys will too. So come check it out. I'm again on iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere else. I plugged the heck out of that. So.
That's cool.
And Cynthia and Blake were both interviewed on the show. That's actually how we all met. Well, that's how I met them anyway. So, again, if you guys know of anybody who would like to be on the show who would make a good fit, you can email me, bj@thebusymarketer.com. I want to thank everyone again who joined us for the Google Plus Hangout and on the hashtag MRCap Twitter chat. Go ahead and mark your calendars for the same time next week, Thursday at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And I believe I looked it up because one of our friends is in Hawaii, so I gave him the GMT time. I think it's 3 a.m. GMT. So see you guys next week, and we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Marketing Recap, the show that gives you a peek inside the world of digital marketing. Remember to join us next Thursday for the live show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Google+, or Twitter using hashtag MRCap. And please tell your friends about the show, subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher, and view all episodes and news stories at marketingrecap.com. See you next week.